Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all come on in the room. It is Well Done Wednesday over here with the Renewed and Refined Woman, where we're not just doing things to check them off the list, but we are doing them well. Because the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to hear him say, "Well done." Okay? So today, our guest is none other than Vernice Cooper. Vernice, welcome, welcome, welcome to Well Done Wednesdays. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I am excited at the end of this good Mental Health Awareness Month on a Well
Mhm.
Done Wednesday. What a perfect way to end the month. So, thank you for the invite,
Perfect way.
and I'm excited.
I am excited as well. This is when I thought about it, like this, it's May. It's and hearing you say, and seeing you all over social media doing the different things throughout the month, I was like, the Renewed and Refined Woman, we need to do something um for this month, right? We're not ending it. We're
Yeah.
still the resources are still there, still available, but we wanted to do something special today. And so thank you so much for your yes. Okay. And so we are going to go ahead and jump in and get started
Yes.
with our rapid fire questions. This is the fun part of the show, right? Some of
Okay.
the topics that we talk about can be a little heavy. Okay. So we like to go ahead and get started with a little bit of fun before we get into the
Okay.
other stuff.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. So, first question. You be open, honest. You can give a short story or whatever you want to do to go with your answer if you would like. That's completely up to you. So question number one.
Okay.
What's the fastest speed you've ever driven in a car?
This is being recorded. I think it's 60 miles on the highway, ma'am, and 40
Oh,
miles on the street.
oh, okay then. Cool.
You're not about to incriminate me in these internet streets.
Okay. All right. Cake or pie?
Cake all day.
Really? Is there a
Yeah.
specific type, specific kind of cake?
All kinds of cake, chocolate cake,
Oh,
German chocolate cake, lemon cake, pound cake, upside down cake.
come
You
on.
name it, I love cake. Actually,
You
you know what? I don't even like cake. Cake likes me. Hmm.
Oh, I
Hmm.
see what you did there.
Okay,
Cake, cake likes you.
it likes me.
Okay, I got you. Cake loves me. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Less than 1 cup, maybe 1 cup a week.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm a
You're
tea
a tea
drinker.
girl?
Yes, ma'am.
You're a tea girl. Okay, got it. Um, do you like the smell of gasoline?
Another incriminating question.
Really?
I don't hate it, but I don't go
But
anywhere to purposely smell it. And no, I don't like pumping gas, but I don't
you
hate
don't.
the smell. Like some people have an aversion to
Right.
the
Some people
smell of gas.
really hate the smell. Like they really can't just like, They
Uh-uh.
not going to the gas station, find somebody else to do it.
Yeah,
Okay. But you don't go intentionally just to smell the gas.
no, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know what the definition of triskaidekaphobia means?
No.
You don't?
Uh-uh.
I cannot believe it. Triska, I didn't know either until I just went and looked it up. Okay.
Okay, tell us.
It is the fear of the number 13. And so what I found out it was that that's the reason why some hotels don't have a 13th floor because of the people who have the phobia, the triskaidekaphobia. So we all learned
We
something
learned something new
new.
today.
We learned something new today.
You're gonna
Okay.
spell that for us later.
Um, huh?
You're gonna have to spell that for us later.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's your favorite carnival food? We talked about cakes. We know we cakes love us, but what's your favorite carnival food?
Funnel cake. Is that you said? Don't say cake again. It
No,
cornbread.
that
Okay.
falls right in line, right?
Okay. Funnel cake.
You true to your cakes. You true to you true to your cakes, okay? All right. Last question.
Okay.
Climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Neither for 200, Alex.
Really?
None of them for 400.
If your life depended on it and you had to do one or the other, climb a mountain. All these mountains in California.
If I had to,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably jump from the plane.
OMG,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Because I used to want to do that when I was young, before I knew better.
Oh,
Yeah.
before you knew better, what do you mean?
Now I realize I don't necessarily want to fall to my demise,
On purpose.
but I don't want to struggle on the way up there either. At least if I'm falling, I'm free a little bit. But
Come on.
the struggle, yeah, I don't like these questions.
Okay. All right. Better luck next time. Better luck next time. Okay. Well, that ends our rapid fire questions. Thank you so much for playing along with us, Vernice. That is just a quick way where we just like to get in and find out a little bit about our guest co-host for the day. Nothing too serious, nothing heavy. We're just getting started, okay?
Yes.
And so, as you all have seen over the last week or so, we have been talking about closing out Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And we know that there is a stigma around mental health, right? We get the help for all the other things. Vernice, why do you think that there is a stigma with mental health?
Specifically in the Black community,
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's lots of reasons that why there's stigma, but I do believe that the faith systems, right, our religion,
Mm-hmm.
spirituality actually play a big role in why there's stigma, right?
Okay.
We do not see mental health in the same way we see like our physical health. We have no problem going to the doctor,
None.
right, when something is broken, bleeding, or harmed. But when it's an
Mm-hmm.
emotional need, there's almost it's almost demonized to seek help outside of the church. And I think
Right.
that has harmed believers in general, people of color who are believers more particularly when as it pertains to stigma. But stigma in general with mental health, just because a lot of people think it's something that you can absolutely unequivocally control.
Right. And in your profession, you've seen this. This is daily, day in and day out. It's nothing that you need help with it, right? It's nothing that you can. I often say we need Jesus and therapy, right? Sometimes we need Jesus and medicine. There are some things that we just need help with, right?
Yeah.
And what are some of the ways that you help on this healing journey?
Well, I'm a therapist by trade, but I think we all are able to help just in our conversations with people. We don't even check in with folks anymore. And the more we
Mm,
know, I think the way I help the most is by helping people realize what depression looks like for us,
mm.
right? Because a lot of people in their mind, they think depression is sadness.
Right. Help. Stay right there, Bernice. Stay
Okay,
right
you
there.
stay here.
depression as sadness.
Yes.
That is not the case.
It's not the case. In fact, how it manifests for many people is actually anger.
Really?
Yes. For many people. And because anger really is a secondary emotion, right? There's usually something underneath there. And how we know is in our conversations, because some of us use things like silence as a weapon. I'm not talking. I'm not talking about none of the people that's watching this. Not talking about
None of us.
none of your
None of
none of
us.
your folks. But there's some people
We
in there.
don't we don't use weapons over here.
No, 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 no.
Mm-mm.
Especially the quiet kind in relationships, right?
Shut down.
A lot of people talk about. I don't argue. You don't argue because you're busy imploding and using silence as a weapon. And it's a big weapon of mass destruction when it comes to relationships and things like
Yes.
that. Also, I don't think that we realize what anger does is creates resentment. And resentment is like setting yourself on fire and hoping the other person dies of smoke inhalation.
It
You
don't work
don't
like
burn
that.
up, but you're really hoping that they're harmed by it, right? And we don't really realize from a clinical perspective, resentment is just a symptom of unforgiveness.
Whew, say that again. For the people taking notes. For the people who brought in their pen and paper to pick
Yeah.
up what you putting down. Say that again.
We started with silence, using it as a weapon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because some of us think that I'm just not going to say nothing until I, I feel better. What happens is that it can cause us to implode.
Mm-hmm.
It festers and creates layers of resentment. Now you're not just mad at them, you're mad at everybody who looked like them,
Yeah.
who talked like them. And resentment really is just a symptom of unforgiveness.
Resentment is a symptom
Symptom.
of unforgiveness.
Yeah. Just a symptom. It's just one of the symptoms.
One of
Some
them.
there's symptoms of it, but we talk about forgiveness, resentment, communication as if it has nothing to do with our mental stability, our mental state, our health, our mental health, our wellness, our overall wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That can lead to depression.
for sure. Right? Because when you're holding things in, you're also isolating. You don't want to tell nobody. You
Mm-hmm.
still might not tell them. You don't
Right.
want other folks in your business. It's
Don't
not
want them in your business.
it's not
Don't
coming
want.
out on the Sunday morning testimony.
No,
Right?
absolutely not.
So the silence is really the wall that you build. And yes, it keeps you protected from some harm, but also it
Mm-hmm.
also encases you and keeps you closed in. People can't help. No one has the key.
No one has the key. They can't help.
Yeah.
That ties in with us from last week where we talked about building these walls,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Building the walls.
I
Nothing
heard
can
you
get
talking
in
about
or
the
out.
walls. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Right.
she talked about a window. And
Right.
I say something very similar. Don't build walls, build fences. So you can see what's coming. You have some perspective, right? Same thing with her window, for sure.
Okay.
It's part of
Okay.
our wellness. It's part of our overall
It is.
wellness.
It's part of self-care, right? It
Yeah.
is part of taking care of yourself, being good to yourself. But it's the piece that nobody wants to talk about, right? And we can't help. There's some things we just can't help, right? Nobody wants to be depressed, right? No, nobody wants nobody wants to be sick, period. Right? But you wrote some books. Tell us um about the recovery or the order. Tell us the order.
So the first book I wrote was called Vacate Victimville.
Mm-hmm.
That is
That name all by itself.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then after that, I did a workbook for Vacate Victimville, and then I was a contributing author in some other anthologies around vacating Victimville, right? So,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I wrote that first book, which are a series of short stories and poems, just to invoke some conversation about things we deal with all the time
Mhm.
that impact
Okay.
our mental wellness, like disappointment.
Uh-huh.
Most people enter Victimville on disappointment drive. Someone else fell short, and now we're disappointed, angry, resentful, right? And it
Mm.
impacts who we are and how we show up in the world. Yeah. And so that book I wrote because a lot of times I love introducing myself because I can say all these things, these accomplishments I made, and then I stop and say, but I never tell people that I was the mayor,
Come on, man.
the the mayor of Victimville.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a time about 8 years ago where I found myself being the champion of misery in the workplace, not
Mm.
realizing how it was spilling over into other places. And people say, Vernice, how did you know? Why were you the mayor?
Right.
And I said, well,
How?
in a reflective process, I went back and was like, okay, how did I know I was in a dark place? Because I didn't feel dark. I didn't look dark. No one
Right.
else knew that I was the champion of misery and mishap, right? People were coming to me with their problems. And I said,
So you were a therapist. You were a therapist even then.
I was a social worker.
You were a social
Yeah.
worker
And
and
so
the
that is
mayor
actually
of
part of,
Victimville.
yeah. And it's actually why I moved from the helping profession, right, as a social worker into the healing side of the work as a therapist, from helper to healer, because there was so much
Mm.
work that I had to do. But there was things that were happening that I knew. And this is for somebody who's listening. People are like, well, how do I know if I'm in Victimville? Well, first of all, everyone will go there. Some of us have to go to Victimville just to visit family. Some of us vacation there.
Okay.
We don't stay long, but we gonna throw a good pity party
Right.
in the middle,
Out
a block party. Something going on.
in the middle of a block party.
And some people, right, have actually bought property there. They brought property in Victimville. They pulled up on codependency, cul-de-sac, and set up camp. And people were like, Bernice, how did you know you were in Victimville? Well, there was a couple things I had for the note takers. I'll
Okay.
start. I'll start here. I was waiting for an apology. You know
Mm,
you're in Victimville. There's some symptoms of depression, even if they're not clinical, when you're waiting for an apology,
mm,
right?
mm, mm, mm.
Because
Right.
forgiving people who aren't sorry is part of the work that we're supposed to do.
Anyway.
Come on, believers. We're the renewed and refined women hat.
Woo! We're working so hard. We've been working so hard. We've been working so hard.
Yeah.
Y'all stay with us. Stay with us. All these people ain't trying to help us with the same thing, right? All these amazing women ain't coming in here and helping us. God ain't sending them for no reason. Okay? We got to get it. We
Yeah.
got to use what we got. Okay? All right, go ahead, Vernice.
I think another way I knew is I had a really difficult time genuinely celebrating other people. And that looks very different in this social media age because not none of the
Mm-hmm.
people that you know,
None of them.
not
Not none of
your
them
folks,
in here.
but what that looks like in modern day age is you see their post but you don't like it.
Why you don't like it? All it takes is a little tap.
Right? Like, oh, they graduated. It looks different now. And you get to do it all by yourself. So it's a you thing that you got to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so celebrating other people, waiting for an apology, that was big for me. I had this no new friends attitude,
Mm.
right? Which really just meant that I was fearful of getting involved in vulnerable relationships, even with people who look like me, who can help elevate me, who can help transform me. There was a fear around it. So there were so many indicators, right, that were like, okay, okay, yeah. I was actually creating barriers to new connections. We do that
Wow.
even in our language. That no new friends. Listen, let's kill it right
No
here.
new friends.
Yeah, don't listen. Go listen. I tell people with the policy. Thank you for saying, Miss Danetta. You used to have a no new friend
Used to.
policy, but no new friends also means no new perspective.
Mm. Help us.
Because if you just stay right there, right, and
Right
that
where you are.
you will stay right there. But that was
Mm-hmm.
part of it. That was part of my mayoral campaign. I campaigned on that, Miss Danetta. No new friends. In
That's
fact,
how she won the election. You won
that's
the
how
election on that one right there. That's what got you secured your election.
they
Your
secured my.
secured your seat.
Not only that, what I was keeping score of offenders and their offenses. So for the scorekeepers,
What we got to do?
I'm just telling you how I knew I was the mayor. None of your folks
Mm.
probably struggle with none of this stuff.
Oh, I said we. I didn't outed us. Okay, go ahead. She's not talking to us, y'all. It's not the renewed and refined woman. It's
Not
those
the
other. It's the other people. It's not us. Go ahead,
yeah,
Vernice.
it's those other people. It's definitely not you all. Um,
Mm-mm.
yeah, so it was the scorekeeping was hard because no one can ever there was no way for their score to improve
In your eyes.
in my eyes. Like they were being graded.
And didn't
Not,
even know it.
yeah, not your folks, just mine.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea. Um, I also think I was blaming other people for my misfortunes.
Hmm.
Like even in the workplace, I didn't get that promotion because this and that. And sometimes it happens. Who said they were a scorekeeper champion?
Kristen.
Yeah, she probably lived in my. She probably lived where in my city. She's probably one of my residents. I'm
Mm.
glad she said was,
Was. Yes,
was,
this was. This
was
was. Uh-huh. I'm loving the was.
the was.
Right? Because
Um, yeah.
we
We, listen, yeah,
um Elena said it's like keeping tally of what they did wrong.
yeah. We never do the tally in reverse.
Right. I was going to say if we never talk about how we played a part. We played a part in that.
That piece of the responsibility, but also, do you keep tabs in reverse? How many of you are saying? How many of you are keeping tabs of all the things that people are doing right? Of the people who are
Ah.
doing right by you. See, because we expect it. There's actually an entitlement to us. We're expecting some stuff. Yeah, I think I also found it very hard to find things to be grateful for
Mm.
when I
Mm.
was the mayor because I was easily offended
Really?
and always defensive.
And this is you, just a backstory for the people that are coming in the room. We're talking a little bit about your book, Vacate Victimville, and how you were the mayor.
Yes.
Even in basically in your job, right?
Yeah.
At your job. You were the mayor of Victimville.
Yes.
Everything was the other person. It wasn't, it was always what people did to you, right?
Mhm.
Never
Mhm.
what they did right, always what they did wrong, looking for an apology, looking for them to admit they're wrong, but you never cheering or championing for the things that went right. So, you said this was about 8 years ago. How did you how did you flip the script? What happened? What was that aha or that light bulb moment that you flipped the script and decided enough was enough?
That's a great question. The script never flipped. It wasn't no easy flip. That it was a hard page turn, and it was slow. It was a process, and
Mm,
it didn't happen till
process.
process. It actually didn't happen till I left the place I was working at. Took a
Mm-hmm.
huge 5-figure pay cut, huge, and
I
I
did.
was yes, and I was working somewhere where I didn't even tell them I had 2 masters. I just needed a break, a mental break. And it was in that time that God revealed to me that sometimes you have to leave the situation so you can have a better perspective of what's going on. I would have never discovered it where I was. And this is not a message for everybody because I don't want nobody leaving here talking about, I'm gone. This divorce is over, or I'm done with this job. Deuces. Don't do that. I'm just talking about
Don't
my
do that.
process. But for me, it wasn't until I left. And I mean, I was doing a job where I was a clinical social worker writing court reports, sitting in court, going on child abuse investigations with local police officers, all that type of stuff. I felt that the job was purposeful, but it wasn't my purpose.
Come on. Purposeful, but not your purpose.
Not my purpose. And I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. My camera's on today. Purposeful, but not my purpose, which means
Mm.
when it's purposeful, then many people can do it.
Doesn't have to
When
be
it's
you.
when it's your purpose, only you can do it. And I found that while I was folding brochures, I never saw my job doing anything physical. Um, and I was asking for all the mundane parts of the job. Like I wanted to know. Don't judge me, y'all. I was not good with like the copier, making like I wanted to learn how to do all of the things. And what
Right.
I learned is that I learned a lot during that time around. I don't have to be motivated. I just have to be disciplined. I learned so much in that time about discipline.
You don't have to be motivated because motivation is going to come and
It's fleeting.
motivation is going to go.
It's
Woo!
fleeting.
Jesus. You have to be disciplined. Discipline is what makes the difference.
It's what makes a difference.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
so, yeah, for me, and this is just my process, there was a piece, right, that I could not have gotten where I was. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand that that was like depression. I thought I was just angry and not getting promoted and doing all this stuff, but really it was
That was
uh,
depression.
for me. Yeah, 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 yeah. And not a deep clinical depression. All depression. Sometimes you're depressed without having clinical depression. You don't necessarily need medication, um,
Uh-huh.
but you always need an intervention, whatever
That
that
part.
looks like. Right? It's hard. That's why I say it's really good to have people around you who can tell you when you're not being you.
Mm,
And I have a tribe who's not scared of Vernice at all.
really?
Yes, and you asked about that turning point. For me, it was like, okay, what am I in control of?
Hmm.
And I thought, because I'm a control freak, I don't know if there's any other A-type personality folks. Um,
You were talking
I,
about us real bad this whole show, but go ahead.
what I realized is that you really can't control anything. You can't even control your thoughts. This might be some new information for people.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm saying that. I'm going to ask your audience right now to not think about an elephant. Whatever you do, don't think about an elephant. Especially don't think about no red elephant. Don't think about a zoo. Don't think about animals at all. Just don't think about it. Don't think about. You're not in control of your thoughts. You are in control of what you do with them, not of what you think. Right? And how I like to explain this when I'm working with my patients is
because I thought about all them things you said. Do not
I
think about.
know, because a lot of times we think we're in control of those things. Those are not controllables for us. And for me, understanding that, the best way, the thing that helped me the most was understanding, like, Vernice, you don't get to control the weather. But you can control your temperature. I can't control whether or not it's cold, but I can put on a coat. You may not be able to control some things that's happened to you, some trauma, but you can control how you deal with it. You can get the coat or not.
You have choices.
You have choices. Is your coat in a clinical setting, or is it in church? Is it in a group setting with your girlfriends? Because I can tell you where it's not. It's not at the bar.
It's not. It's not. It's not at the bar.
Right? And so for me, understanding that the thing I actually have control over is what I say and what I do. Other than that, I was like, oh, so really? Oh, I got it. God, you really are in control. I never really was. Nope. You mean I never was?
Never.
Not even as the mayor?
Nope. That was a self-elected position.
Self-elected.
And you voted your own self in.
Listen.
And stayed there.
Listen. And I get that. I understand that now. I understand that about myself now. And now the work is I have to keep going back to Victimville to move some people out. Because it's deceiving, right? Victimville is not a physical place. It's really only a place in your mind.
In your mind.
And there's some nice real estate there. The roads are paved. The roads are paved. It's nice. Deceptively nice.
Deceptive.
Yeah. Right. Like when I ask people how you doing, they always say okay. No, ain't nobody always okay. Ain't nobody always good.
And that's always my answer.
Well, let me tell you, the most thing I think I hear as a clinician is the word fine. How you doing? Fine. I'm fine. Really? And then I break down fine. Oh, you feelings inside not expressed? Let's talk about it. Yeah, that's fine.
Feelings inside
not expressed.
Not expressed.
Mm-hmm. That's your wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not expressed. Expressed to who? Nobody. New friends. No new friends.
Nobody.
And the people I do be around, I'm giving the silent treatment because they don't know how to act.
Because that's my weapon of choice.
Listen.
I want them to hurt like I'm hurting.
The transference of energy. I'll punish you with this thing.
I will punish you with my silence. God knows. Vernice.
Yes, ma'am.
So. I'm still stuck on fine. It's like Mary J. Blige's song is just hitting totally different right now.
I want you to just hear how I'm fine, 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 fine. Woo!
Fine. Mary, you not fine. I'm not fine. We not fine, Mary. We
And
not fine.
and sometimes we are, but all the time we aren't.
Right. Like you said, all the time. All
All
the
the
time.
time. No
Everybody
one.
ain't fine.
Mm-mm,
All the
mm-mm,
time.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Because sometimes there's these emotional roadblocks and we just don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the road doesn't exist. We don't go there. We don't explore
We
it.
take a detour.
Listen,
Oh,
I'm
we
gonna
take a
hop on.
detour.
I'm gonna hop on this here detour. I'm gonna go ahead and wrench around over there off Anger Alley, and I'm gonna sit there.
Rent. You said rent around?
I did. I did. It's a family show.
And we take these detours and we think we're taking shortcuts, right? But on these shortcuts, we keep bypassing the healing process. So we keep going round and round and round in these circles.
And you stay in the same town. There's really only one freeway that leads in and out of the town of Victimville from the perspective in which I write it, and that is Forgiveness Freeway. And it's hard because people are waiting to feel motivated to forgive and not understanding how much of a decision it is, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go back to this because I said this earlier. Come on, believers who are watching,
Mm-hmm.
forgiving people who are not sorry is our assignment.
Mm-hmm. Right, right, right. I've heard that.
So we shouldn't even have a score table because, okay.
We're supposed to be quickly forgiving. So before we can even put that score up there, we should forgive. That's what you're saying?
Um, just,
God mighty. Right? They forgiveness, healing, all
mhm,
part of the same thing.
yeah,
Like they go together bad.
they go together bad. I always tell people because listen, when we're angry and we're upset, it lives not just in our heart and the emotional space. It lives in our digestive tract. You know what else lives there? Serotonin.
Really?
Our feel 95% of serotonin, our feel good hormone, that is produced in our gut. So if we mad and we eating bad, oh, it's gonna be a minute.
A minute. And then we're gonna be sick. Cause then it's roller coasters. It what is that? What is that? It adds on all these other
Snowballs.
different things,
It does.
right? That's it, Latrell. Here comes sickness and disease. Okay, so I wanted to stop right here real quick where Latrell said the flip side is when you do tell people something besides fine or okay, they don't hear you.
Who are you telling? The point of it is not to tell everyone, but to have someone.
That part. That part. Somebody
When
drop
you,
that on the
when
screen.
you tell no one, it keeps you in isolation. And that's where it, so I work specifically part-time for Kaiser in addiction medicine and recovery services. And it's the
Mm-hmm.
isolation that hurts people the most, right? I talk about
Mm-hmm.
a British guy named Johan Hari who he just put all my personal research right on display in his YouTube because he said the opposite actually of addiction is not sobriety. So the opposite of addiction is not you quitting. He said the opposite of addiction is connection.
What?
And I said, you not finna beat me to the punch on a TEDx. Come on, Johan Hari. We're gonna
Come
we gonna be
on.
we gonna be on the stage together one day soon. I promise.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind.
I said a lot, so I'm gonna listen to you. What you got?
There is so there's so much. Right, I'm with you, Shamika. Wow, 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 wow. She has just been talking real ugly about somebody. I don't know who it is. It's
I'm not
not
talking
us.
about none of your people.
It wasn't any of us, but those people that you were talking about, like, but help is here,
Yeah.
right?
Well, help is here, and the first way, like that therapists help, right? And not everybody needs to be in therapy, but someone needs to check our language when we're in that place. We're in Victimville, right? Because there's a language in Victimville. It's called
Okay.
victimese.
It's called what?
Victimese.
Victimese, not
Mhm.
Vietnamese.
Nope.
Victimese.
Hmm. It's a way of talking. It's a dialect, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time. I'm not motivated. I can't do it. Ain't nobody gonna help me. There's no way out.
Opposite of the affirmations that we should be speaking.
Come on.
Uh-huh.
Aren't you sending daily affirmations?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
counteract
The victimese.
the victimese. It's a language.
A whole
It's a
language.
people. It's a mindset, and they have a
Mhm.
dialect, a language about them.
Wow.
I know. I was the mayor.
The mayor. I am
Listen.
so thankful that you gave up your office and have
What was it?
decided to
Yes.
come and rescue the people. We're so thankful. So thankful that you didn't just leave and leave the other people to just figure it out on their own.
Mm.
Right?
Hmm.
So thankful that you are reaching back and helping on this healing journey. Okay. Um, so for the women that are watching, if just in case later on down the road, Elena said me. So we got somebody that's in the room. I know me and Elena, right? We're gonna come on out, right? And own this thing. Um, if there was something that you could say to those live now or those on the replay, um, help us with getting started,
Mm.
right? Help us, like we now know that the depression ain't just sad, right? That is not just sad. And we know we got to watch our language. Stop speaking victimese, right? Stop, stop that. Um, what would be some next steps for us to help us?
Mm.
We're not bypassing, we're not circling. Didn't the Indians, if somebody lose the war, circling? We want to get off the detour
Mm-hmm.
so we can vacate Victimville.
Well, one, I would say you have to stay connected to communities like this, the Renewed and Refined Woman. You
Mm-hmm.
actually, I think, April, have created a space where women can be refilled. So their cup runneth over. So today is more of like a slight gut check because I'm a disruptor and I know who I am. I know how I show up in the space. But I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I talk to a lot of people I work with, like, first of all, a decision has to be made.
Make
And,
a decision.
and here are your options. The first option I give people is, do you, in this life and in this time, in this season, want to modify something? Modify means to make an adjustment, to make a small adjustment. Some people's like, yeah, I just want to change my attitude about traffic. Okay, cool. We can work on that.
We can work, right?
We can do that.
We can do that. No
Yeah.
problem.
And they're like, okay, what's the other option? Well, do you want to recover? Are you trying to get back to a place you've previously been? That's what recover means, to return to a place that you've previously been. Some people, oh yeah, I want to be back. See, when I was 22, everything was cool because that's before I met him, and that's before I did that, and that's before they want to get back to a previous place. They're like, yeah, I don't want to modify Vernice. I want to recover. Okay, cool. We can go there because it's a place you've been. It's familiar. What's the third option, Vernice?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to transform? Transformation means to become something
New.
new, renewed,
Mm-hmm.
refined.
Mm-hmm.
It means to become something new. So it's not somewhere you've been before. Are you willing to go to a
Right.
new place? Because if you do, you're gonna have to do some hard stuff. Everybody not gonna be like me and take a $40,000 pay cut to go find their purpose, to leave purposeful work to seek their purpose.
Purpose for somebody, just not you.
Just not just it was purposeful. A lot of people right now are doing purposeful work. It's just not their purpose. So they don't have
Mm.
that level of fulfillment. Are you willing to become something new? To walk it to align with your destiny, then that's different work that requires healing, right? That level of mental wellness and alignment and fulfillment takes a lot of work. And that is what true transformation is. So understanding where you are in that spectrum. Some people are like, no, I'm gonna stick with the modification because all that other stuff you talking, Vernice, is too much.
It's
and
too
I,
much.
and I respect that because a lot of people start there.
Wow. 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 Well, tonight, have y'all enjoyed tonight? If y'all have enjoyed tonight, can we see some heart emojis? Give me some brown heart emojis in the comments. Hit the heart button if you've enjoyed tonight and if this has been a help to you. And if you're ready to go a little deeper, if you're ready to get off um, the road, the highway, if you're ready to stop bypassing, taking shortcuts, you're really ready to vacate Victimville, then we have a little starting place for y'all. Okay, we got a safe space and a starting point for us. Okay, so over in RMU, Rich Monty's Unite, the month of July, the mayor, the previous mayor,
Former
the
mayor.
former mayor,
Former mayor. Don't put me back up in there.
the former mayor of Vacate Victimville, um, will be working with us over in RMU. The Vacate Victimville, the anthologies for hurt, hope, and healing, and the recovery book will be our book club choice for the month of July. So we need you to run to Amazon and grab your copy now. I'll be putting the schedule in there for how we'll meet two different dates in July. Okay, two different times in July we will be meeting. Vernice will be in the room with us, walking us through these steps. Okay,
Y'all
and
ready to
so,
do it?
huh?
I said, if they're ready,
If y'all ready,
we're
if
gonna
you
do.
ready, is you ready? I'm right here with y'all. I am right here with y'all. Um, it's time. It's time. No time like the present, right? God isn't sending us these amazing women that are helping us. And it's like one thing just builds on the next thing to help us. And what I know for sure is that God wouldn't put us in this place at this time with these amazing women to help us if it wasn't somebody in here that needed this. And so I am thankful, elated to say the least, for the help. And so again, this will be in the closed group, Rich Monty's Unite. So if you're not a part of the group, you need to get in there, okay? You need, because this one is not going to be on Facebook Live, and on the public pages. It's not going to be there. We may even possibly, we're going to do Zoom. We're going to do Zoom. Okay, we're gonna do Zoom. Hey, Miss Joyce, we are going to do Zoom, and we'll thread it over into RMU. But to be a part of it, you have to have the book, and you have to have read your chapters. Right, that's what we're doing, because that's a true book discussion. We can't discuss it if you haven't. We can't do the work if you haven't, gotten the resources and the tools that you need. Okay, and so, yeah, do that. It's Vacate Victimville, the Anthology, and the Recovery Workbook. So go and grab those from Amazon. Okay, you can do that as soon as this live is over. And if you're on Facebook, get in the room, get in RMU. But we will have it on Zoom. So if you don't do, the social media, and you still want to be a part of this, you just need to have your book so that you can follow along. Right? That's your roadmap. That's going to help us to vacate Victimville. Vernice,
Yes.
thank you
Thank you for having me. I
so
appreciate you.
much. Thank you so much. Like, this has been, I know there is only so much that we can do in an hour in this setting,
Mhm.
right? But it has been a great starting point. And I'm excited to go through the month of July, not just reading about somebody else's life, not just reading about what somebody else has done and their accolades, but doing our work
Mm.
so that maybe one day somebody can read about us. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yes, I'm really
Um,
excited, especially for those of you who will be joining us. You'll be
mhm.
reading about fictional characters, but I'm coming for your own unforgiveness. I'm coming to settle some betrayal that you've experienced, some resentment that you're going to let go in July, some anger that we're going to release. So this is not about reading a book for a book's sake. This is about you doing the work. So I'm excited to meet those of you who will be joining us in the book club.
Absolutely. Until then, Vernice, how can they how can they um follow you? How can they stay connected with you?
Yes, so I have a public Facebook and Instagram page at Vacate Victimville. And you can
Okay.
also visit my website, www.verniceacooper.com. Thank
Awesome,
you,
awesome,
everyone. Thank you so much, April.
awesome. Thank you so much, Vernice. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time,
Yes.
clearing your schedule for us. We appreciate you. And we look forward to seeing you in July. And so, those who are on the email list, stay tuned for an email. I'll be sending out an email in just a little while, because I don't want to do too much on this live. And so I'll be sending out the information for the July book club. And I will also be sending out the information for the winner of our raffle that we had going on. Okay. I'll be putting all of that in an email that will come out later on tonight. Okay. So just stay tuned. I'll put the links in there for Amazon, to get the book so we can get started. I'm excited. I am thankful. I appreciate all of you all for coming in the room, for clearing your schedules, doing whatever you had to do to get in the room. I appreciate you. Okay. Yes, we have the replay, but that live just hit different. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. And we'll also, yeah, it'll be in the email. So make sure, if you're not a part of the email list, text "Hey Girl" to 434-201-4552, so that we can get you connected outside of social media. Okay. That's 434-201-4552. I love y'all. Have the most amazing night. We'll see y'all in the morning at 5 a.m. Pacific for Wake, Pray, and Plan. Those are candid self-care conversations that you didn't even know that you needed. Okay. Have a great night. And remember, it's a process to becoming renewed and refined.
Good night, everyone.